Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2019 mod career mode here, driving as Charles Leclerc in his Ferrari car for round number 19 today at the Mexican Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the previous one at the USA GP, then be sure to go check the one out before you see this one. That was a very crucial race for the championship. Not such a great one for us, which might be a bit of a spoiler, but yeah, be sure to see that one like I said. But yeah, we need to bounce back from that as a team as well. We've lost a bit of ground in the Constructors' Championship as well, so it needs to be a real team effort as well. But for me specifically then, obviously it's been enough time in the video now. Of course, I had a DNF, unfortunately, crashed out the GP, an altercation with Valtteri Bottas, which was you know, the worst timing possible really, because now we've got 3 rounds left and Hamilton has quite a big margin by, you know, career mode margins go. You know, the F1 game career modes usually end up quite tight, so the gap he's got is quite alarming, and so we're going to have to try and do the best job we can this weekend to bounce back, because Brazil is going to be a very tough one for me. So I feel like Mexico right now, this episode, is the best chance to really fully bounce back at Hamilton before we get towards that final race, because Brazil will probably be a damage limitation race for me, I'm just going to guess. But qualifying was quite promising, the car able to carry quite a bit of speed in Sector 2, but then through the last corner, losing a lot of time on the exit there, on the acceleration, we moved down from P2 down to P3 in the end, so it'll be another pole position for my teammate Sebastian Vettel. It will be once again showing the true pace of the car, but we only lost a little bit of time there that time round, and I feel like we do have the pace this time around. It's not a question of if, I think it's just a question of when we can show it in the race. But Vettel grabs pole, Hamilton, my championship rival, in second place, then ahead of me in third alongside Valtteri Bottas. Then the next two are the Red Bulls, then you've got Carlos Sainz alongside Raikkonen, Magnussen and Hulkenberg round out the top 10, and then you've got another Haas and Renault pairing of Grosjean and Ricciardo. Then Lando Norris, Sergio Perez, Giovinazzi and Kvyat down to P16, Lance Stroll alongside Alexander Albon in P18, and then the 2 Williams cars of Robert Kubica and George Russell line up the grid at the rear end for the Mexican GP. And like I said, it wasn't too bad. We were in P2 for pretty much most of that lap. It could have been a front row lockout for Ferrari easily there, and I'm not too surprised by that. Obviously, decent, you know, straight line speed on the Ferrari car down that main straight, and like I said, carrying a lot of speed in Sector 2, which is quite good. Obviously, the high altitude does play around a little bit with the aero around here with the F1 cars, so I think it's equalised the pace a little bit between us and Mercedes. And of course, Vettel was very dominant at USA, so if it wasn't for me getting caught up in fights and traffic, and then eventually obviously the issue we had with Bottas, I think it could have been an okay performance at USA as well. So looking forward to Mexico, but like I said, no matter what, you know, I'm saying going into this race, this has to be a good one for us. We have to outscore Hamilton. The ideal scenario would be us getting a win here at the GP, I can't lie, but we'll have to see, because Vettel seems pretty in fine form. He won the last race, just grabbed pole, so let's just be a bit cautious on that, but we'll have to try our best in the opening lap to at least get ahead of Hamilton. That will be the aim, I would say. So let's get into it then and try and do that job first and foremost on the opening lap, as we now go to 5 red lights for the Mexican Grand Prix, the third last round here today. 5 red lights are out and we're underway, and it's a bit of a slow start for us initially, but then as we climb up through the gears, getting the toe already off Vettel. It's a long run down to turn 1, so need to use that slipstream so we stay tucked in behind Sebastian. We're going to cut across Hamilton, who's very slow actually. Obviously he didn't have anyone to tow off, and so into turn 1 it's going to be mighty close between myself and Vettel, but we've got ahead of Hamilton. But a collision was made, and a pretty hefty thump on the front left between myself and Sebastian. Very thankful no front wing or you know, floor damage was done to Vettel's car either there, so we can count ourselves lucky. And meanwhile behind, look at Valtteri Bottas go! He was on the inside line, now on the outside of Hamilton there. He's going to try and get third place. Of course, maybe, you know, Bottas fighting for his own championship kind of battle with Vettel for third place, and looks like he doesn't really give too much of a toss about Hamilton's actual direct championship fight, because he's got and overtaken his teammate, so no team orders there, and so it's still 3-4 for Mercedes there. But it's the other way around now, and it's the great way around for myself, of course. Hamilton now down to P4, and we're in P2, and we're looking a little bit at Vettel. We have a little sniff on the outside, but Vettel will cut off that inside line. So for now, just going to keep up behind in second place. Of course, no need to make an overly aggressive move on my teammate here, because I want to also make sure we try and keep this 1-2, because it's not just me fighting for the Drivers' Championship. As a team, we're trying to fight for the Constructors. We lost some ground in Mexico with my DNF. That was my fault, and so I need to try and make sure we can get this 1-2. But but I need to try and swap this round if I can. It'll be ideal if I can win the Grand Prix. Let's say Bottas keeps Hamilton at bay. You know, P1 compared to P4, that's a great amount of points there. I can swing back on Hamilton straight away after that poor USA GP. But we move on to lap number 4 then. DRS open at this stage. You can see we are closing. That DRS is able to keep me in, actually. I was losing a bit of pace on lap 3, actually, to Vettel. He was actually able to pull away from me in sectors 2 and 3. So that DRS is actually keeping me in there and keeping me in the fight, basically, with Vettel and allowing me to also stay ahead of Bottas here. So the pace is kind of dropping a tad, and so that's got me a little bit worried. So thankfully, the DRS is pulling me along. But lap 5 now, we're a little bit closer than we were lap 4. I'm hoping I can actually get past Vettel maybe at this stage, because I think at this stage I need to be in the front controlling the race, otherwise it will get swamped up a little bit. So here we go to the inside of Sebastian Vettel, easy on the brakes though, giving some room on the outside. We're going to try a bit of an early brake and switch back to the inside there. Made a bit of contact on the exit, and Vettel forces me really wide on the curb. That slows us both down though, both of us going side by side through that chicane. And so Bottas is on the outside. We're going to brake early and try and force Bottas into a bit of a box, and Vettel's going to go around the outside. I'm going to try and play this very cheekily and make sure we keep this 1-2. So it's a tricky thing to do, but I think I just artfully made sure we keep that 1-2 whilst maintaining the race lead. So supreme driving there to make sure we kept that, and so it is still a 1-2 for Ferraris. We have a car out of the GP there. But as we move on to the next lap, Vettel's not sticking around. He's going to have a little sniff to the inside. There we go, defensive on the outside. Vettel is going to get pinched into the apex, and so we hold the line in turns 2. That's going to slow Vettel down quite a fair bit, because you see the Mercedes car right up his gearbox now. So let's watch on and focus on Vettel there behind and see if the Mercedes car is going to pull out to the outside. This will be for the corner. So Vettel goes very defensive and does really well under braking there. He really jolted forward and is able to keep that 1-2. So all good right now, but this is kind of what I'm worried about, was once I overtake Vettel, is Vettel going to get swamped up into, you know, a fight with the Mercedes cars? We're going to lose this 1-2 straight away, but that's not the case actually, because the very next lap, Vettel is attacking me once more on lap number 7. So although I've done him a favour by making sure we kept him in P2, he's now going to try and take away that P1 that I took off him here, and so we've had a really poor exit. Got the rear end stepping out, and he's on the outside. We're gone defensive to the inside, but he goes the long way around and pinches us into the apex, and we just about managed to avoid some contact there with him. And Bottas has his nose in as well, looking at me, but through the double right-hander, unable to make anything. A little bit of a squirm on the rear as well as we lose some traction, and instead we go defensive against Bottas into the sector 2. And now we're moving swiftly into lap number 8. Right at the end, we're going to come in for our pit stop then. The tyres are very much going off. We're going to try and do the undercut. The undercut is very powerful around Mexico, and we almost, well, we do take the bollard out and take it with us. I was losing that much grip on the entry to the pit lane. That was drifting into the pit lane entry, and we're held up slightly by the McLaren there, but hopefully it's not going to cost us too much time in the grand scheme of things, because like I said, the undercut is very powerful around Mexico, as long as you get clean air. That's the big if. So let's see how we go as we come out now on lap 9. It is, we are in a lot of clean air. There's the Williams cars up ahead, which I suspect we'll catch very easily, and we are, as we move on later on that lap. The end of sector 2 into sector 3, we catch George Russell there very easily on the exit, and that's a little bit of an awkward overtake to make around the outside. Rather would have made that move to the inside, but there you go. And now we're going to catch up to Kubica as well. Probably might push him through the last few corners, to be honest. That Ferrari v Williams performance there, but the thing to look out for is the mini-map, and on the left-hand side of the track to see where the others are. So, you know, we may have been held up a little bit by the Williams cars, but the majority of that lap, we were in clean, fresh air. So here we go, on to lap 10. DRS open as well, so thank you very much, Kubica. And we have overtaken a Red Bull that was, and the Red Bull was pretty close to the Mercedes car. We set a purple lap time the very next time round as we cross the line for a new lap there. So fast lap the GP, so that extra point might come towards me if it stays like this. But Vettel has made his pit stop. He's out ahead of me, but we are crucially way ahead of the Mercedes cars. On the minimap you can see there's a massive gap. The turquoise dot's nowhere to be seen, and so that's pretty damn good. So although Vettel appears to be quite far ahead in first place now, he's really bolted on that in and out lap for his pit stop. We're at least far away from the Mercedes cars. And so we now move a couple of laps later, and this is Sebastian Vettel in second place on the road, going for first place there. The Racing Point car staying out on an alternative strategy, and so Vettel now has taken the lead proper of the Mexican GP there. You can see behind as well, we're chasing after in P4. We've got a McLaren to overtake, and then the Racing Point car. But Vettel looking pretty supreme once again, which is good to see, because obviously he had that double DNF stint in the middle of this season. I said he needed a few wins to really get back into any kind of contention, or at least to catch up to Bottas in the championship. So that's good for him. I mean, I feel good for him because he's had so much bad luck so far in this season in terms of consistency as well. Has been lacking from him. So to see him, you know, back to back looking so good is pretty good for the team in terms of the construction Constructors Championship because, you know, he really has been, to be fair, letting the team down. But anyway, as I've been talking about that, we overtook the McLaren car with some decent ease to the inside. And again, we'll try the same thing, kind of a bit of a deja vu scenario. Same exact place on Sergio Perez. This is the Racing Point car. We're going to fade to the left, going to fade to right, go to the left, I should say, and kind of get to the inside because this is the place I want to be because we can squeeze out Perez then as we go through that left and then right. And so there we are up into P2, but there's about a 5-second gap to Vettel, or just about under 5 seconds there. But it's a 1-2 for Ferrari. That's the perfect scenario for the team. Obviously, I would like to be in first place, but 5 seconds now at this stage of the GP is going to be difficult to try and close down. So we'll see what we can do, but I might just have to try and settle for P2 and kind of look at Hamilton's race and just hope that he can be down the order. For now, he is down the order because it's a 1-2 for Ferrari still, and Hamilton is quite some way down the order because you can see Bottas still hasn't cleared Perez. Sainz is still ahead of the Red Bull car, and Hamilton is behind that Red Bull car as well. So at this stage, Hamilton is like down in P6 or 7 on the road. Of course, 2 free positions will be taken, but he's behind one of the Red Bull cars, like legit. So right now, he's in a net P5, I would say, which is very good news for us. So as we move on to lap 21 then, not too much else happening in that second stint after we made those overtakes for second place on the road. So we come in for that pit stop there, a little bit of a delayed pit stop. I think that was a tiny screen freeze perhaps as we enter the pit box, but we're still remaining in P2. Bottas at this stage still P3. I'm not too sure now on lap 21 to lap 22 where Hamilton is. I think he might have cleared that Red Bull car, so he might be back up into P4. So it's looking like we'll be settling down for P2. Don't know what will happen with Vettel. We'll have to see. Never say never, but it would seem like we're going to guarantee at least 18 points to Hamilton's. Well, that'll be 12 points. But let's see. Hamilton, he's not too far off Bottas, so he might have a chance to overtake P3. We'll have to see. And also, let's see what we do with this traffic, because if Vettel gets held up in enough traffic, you know, a 4-second lead can go pretty quickly if you get caught up too much in. So that's why we're going to make a huge dive down the inside of Ricciardo. Bump on the front right tyre there. Sorry, Rick Bobby, but we go round the outside. He's really jostling for position there. We need to make that overtake work, and we do so. And now we close up to Verstappen, who's behind Gasly, who's also behind Hamilton. So we've already made our pit stop, and we're already catching up to the 2 Red Bulls. And I can see Hamilton on the road ahead of me, and he's yet to make a pit stop. So that is just a big, insight into how good this race is going for not only myself, but Vettel. This Ferrari car has been supreme around Mexico. This is the perfect, exact Grand Prix we needed as a team. The pace we've got here, the fact I'm closing up to my championship rival and he's yet to make a pit stop, his second pit stop, is absolutely awesome. You can see the tyre wear is kicking in for him as we move on to lap 23, and we could maybe even overtake him on track before he's even made that pit stop that he has to make to get to the end of the GP. So absolutely awesome stuff for us, to be honest here. So that fills me with a lot of confidence, but I don't know, obviously from here to Brazil, it's a very different track, so I still maintain Brazil's going to be a very tough one for us to outscore Hamilton, but we'll see. But Hamilton comes in then on towards lap 24, and we maintain that P2. We're just trying to catch up now to the Alfa Romeo racing car of Raikkonen at the moment, who's in P2 on the track. So this will be us getting back up and securing that 1-2 on the circuit. Of course, at some point I would guess that Raikkonen makes a pit stop, but we're going to have to make the overtake anyway because we're closing up with so much pace compared to the Finn, obviously the man that obviously we as Leclerc took the seat of at Ferrari. So here we go, opening DRS, and we're going to make the move, I guess, to the inside. It would be as Raikkonen sticks to the racing line, actually. So we go down the inside, bit of a screen freeze there as well once more, but we make it work, and there we go. We booked in that 1-2. Vettel still supremely in the lead. I think he's now grown the gap to about 6 or 7 seconds as we move on to the second last lap of the Grand Prix. We're still P2. Vettel's now grown his lead substantially to about 10 or 11 seconds there. He's had so much pace. I've tried my best to answer it whilst also looking after my fuel and the tyre wear as well, and the ERS as well, which is pretty tricky around here in Mexico because you use so much ERS on the main straight with overtake mode and hot lap mode that you have to save so much in the S section. But we've done a great job to keep ahead of Bottas. I think we kept the gap to at least 3 to 5 seconds. So Bottas has kept me honest, to be fair to him. He's kept me honest. But we've also always been in control in this entire thing. So we move on to the last lap of the Grand Prix then. And we'll move on to the last final few corners. And we go towards the stadium section. The fanfares and the confetti is out. And Sebastian Vettel books in his second win in a row this season there. I don't know total number of wins for Vettel, but it's 2 in a row now for him, USA and Mexico, and we're going to book in and confirm the 1-2 for Ferrari here. The Mexican GP just about across the line with the tyre wear kicking in right at the end.
Yes, that's a podium. Excellent drive. The team have worked especially hard this weekend, and this is a fantastic reward.
A great win then for the Maranello team today. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And as we can see, it's time for the podium, and as the drivers make their way out, there's a familiar red suit making its way to the top step. Fantastic win for Ferrari.
So the perfect weekend for Scuderia Ferrari. As a team, of course, I would have preferred it to be in first place and Vettel second for the championship sake for the drivers, but for the constructors, that's mega. Vettel once again gets the full 26 points like he did at USA with the fast lap of the Grand Prix there. So he's had 26 and 26 in the last 2 rounds, and that definitely makes up for the double DNF he had earlier on in the middle part of the European portion of the season. Bottas then third place. Hamilton did eventually get up into P4 and book that in ahead of the 2 Red Bulls. Verstappen slipped away quite a fair bit, and Raikkonen does amazing in the Alfa Romeo to be in P6, so I don't know what went on with Verstappen there. Sainz again scoring some points from McLaren in P8, Grosjean, and then Sergio Perez in his home race gets at least 1 point there right at the end. But Vettel, the winner, myself in second, so we do close up a little bit to Hamilton in the Drivers' Championship, but it's still pretty comfortable for Hamilton. That's an 11-point gap there for Hamilton, so I would say for his sake, he must be feeling pretty good going to Brazil, knowing that he probably has the advantage at Sao Paulo, so gonna have to hope for a bit of a miracle, to be honest. I need to outscore Hamilton somehow at Brazil, but I'm just very skeptical because the AI are so good around Brazil. But Vettel now up into third place, and he's actually not that far off me. He's only 6 points off me, and that seems bonkers because only like 3-4 episodes ago he was about 20-30 points off me down in fourth place. So those 2 wins have really catapulted him straight up into a potential last-minute title fight, potentially, at least ahead of Bottas, which is great for him, for his sake. Constructors-wise, we have closed that back up to Mercedes, and so we can try and outscore Mercedes in the next round. We should be able to try and take that lead going into Abu Dhabi, but it's going to be really, really fine because the Mercedes car's been so bloody consistent, which has been the issue for us as a team. Obviously, we've been kind of, both of us, up and down this season here, but you know, that's how it's gone, and it's still a pretty damn amazing race, but hopefully next time round we can actually try and really close up at Brazil. But like I said, it will be tough. But guys, if you did enjoy the episode, be sure to smash the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, do get subscribed for weekly full-on content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoyed today. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.